inside the house where they're trying to get the Justice, what is
JSA.
it? JSA.
Justice Society of America.
Justice Society of America, together in order to fight the bad guys. They get absolutely crushed. And the bad fighting, the bad CGI, everything was just so bad. It was bad, and it almost made me shut it off until I continued on. And then they started up with Hanson's Bop. That was number 2 for me. That was
it's not a terrible song for people that are fans of music. It's not like, but it's definitely, it doesn't put you in the mood to watch a fight scene at all.
No. It was horrible. Like watching... It was horribly placed. They could have used a better song. They could have used better introductions to introduce a character.
It would be like playing Beethoven's classical music to hardcore porn.
Yeah.
It just does not fit.
Doesn't fit at all.
At all.
At all.
I'm not saying anything negative about the band Hanson. They're trying to, they had that one hit song, Bop, and CW superhero shows.
They probably paid nothing for the song. That's the reason why they used it.
Probably,
yeah.
Probably.
But the CW superhero shows are almost like as if you're watching Lifetime movies for the quality acting. It's.
Do you want to know something? Though most of those actors were on the Lifetime channel at one time.
Absolutely. I wouldn't even doubt. I wouldn't even want to fact check you on that. I believe you so much. Yeah. The Luke Wilson looks like he's just playing the character from what animal? Oh God, it was what the hell?
Stripey.
Old school.
Stripesy. Yeah.
Like the after character from Old School, the movie.
He's a sidekick. He's not even a hero. He's supposed to be a sidekick.
See, that was number 3 for me. And the fact that they didn't even do a backstory for him, they just threw him in there, and not even a main character. The sidekick survives more than the real hero does, and I found that a little messed up. So that was number 3 for watching through the series, or through the first show, I should say.
I do like what they're going to do with the car, though. The way they make the car into a transformer.
That was number 4 for me. I thought it was shit. I thought it was a shit way for them to do it. The car transforms. It transforms into a flying car, and yeah,
it becomes a giant robot.
In the end, it turns into a giant robot.
How?
It's a transformer.
Nobody knows. It just happens. Yeah, and he goes, "Oh, I'm Stripesy," and all of a sudden, it's like a giant robot that comes to save her life.
In the comic book, Stripesy is a very good mechanic, and he's very good with electronics. And
yeah, but the concept for the Transformers, if they had an 18-wheeler, they didn't make the robot larger by an unimaginable size more than the 18-wheeler. It was sort of up to par, same size.
Yeah. They made the robot bigger.
They made the robot the right size according to the car. The robot's about 12 feet tall, and because the car was only it's like a 57 Chevy or whatever it is, or
it would still feel like as much as a ripoff as the GoBots. It would just come up with something somewhat original.
That's where I was with it.
Got the idea from.
That's where I was with it. I was as soon as it hit the end where it showed the robot coming out to be the car and him actually inside of it, saving her life at the end. I was like, well, actually that was number 5. I'm sorry, that was number 5 for me because earlier in the show when she actually sees the staff. And then she's like, "Ooh, that's got to be my dad." Oh, because it just needs to be.
Yeah. Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing way too hard.
It really went forced into it, and it was weird, man. It was a weird setting. It was a weird setup. It was a weird forecasting.
You're not even using your best star power in Stargirl of Luke Wilson to your best advantage, where he could have he could have given his own backstory on how he became a sidekick. No one knows much of that mystery, and that's
he could have been good. He could have been good enough to be his own hero, but he doesn't even train her. Like, he knows that the staff goes to her, and that it's responding to her touch. And he knows that she is the daughter of Starman. And,
which then automatically makes his character useless.
Useless! Absolutely useless.
He's a throwaway. He's as much as a throwaway. He probably signed on for 4 episodes max, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do this. I'm Luke Wilson. Make money."
Yeah.
And it's but yeah, man, I couldn't watch much of that. It was too predictable. I could watch that old Nickelodeon show.
It was like watching every CW drama in a superhero show. Built for people who watch the CW.
They're going after if they're going after their main target audience.
That's all they're doing.
You can't blame them for that, but you're not making your target audience expect anything that they haven't already seen before. And normally, when that happens, you're not expanding your demographic. If you're not expanding your demographic, you're playing to them, and they will eventually disappear.
Yeah.
Well, what it was is, though, they timed it at a bad time, though, to premiere the show. Because they did it the day after the season finale of The Flash. But that wasn't supposed to be the season finale of Flash because they didn't finish filming the episodes. So The Flash ended on so many cliffhangers, and that annoyed a lot of people. And then they went into this new show, and people are like,
it's only an hour long. You can't really put a lot in an hour.
Time to hang the new show.
And on top of that, DC and Amber Rose actually parted, or Ruby Rose parted ways with Batwoman. You know what? And she has very specific gripes with it because they didn't make the settings safe enough for her to work in. And I guess she got hurt twice, like major injuries when she was filming. And they should have.
He was wearing a mask and a wig, Hey, and not my.
Yeah, but there's certain things in your contract obligated that they have to be seen with your face. Yes, they could digitally put it on your face.
No, but a stunt woman, though, a lot of times, if wearing the mask, wouldn't be able to notice. So
that's true.
You wouldn't, yeah. You just throw a stunt person in there, and your liability is completely up. You keep your actors safe in an environment like that, especially with a script that's got holes in it.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they?
You could have Tom Cruise play Batwoman. He likes doing his own stunts.
Well, they had high expectations. They had high expectations for that show.
You don't go up to like Rodney Dangerfield and say you had to do the triple Lundy by yourself because no one's gonna.
Yeah.
For authenticity, purposes when in the movie Back to School.
Do the triple Lundy. We need you.
See, and the sadness is that they're introducing some key major characters, such as a new Batman, in the Batwoman series, and not the glowy, sparkly Batman. They were going with a different Batman for the Batwoman series.
What glowy, sparkly Batman?
That's Robert Pattinson.
No, Robert Pattinson. No, they were going with a different guy for the Batwoman.
Are they going to go with the older one that they did?
The older one, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, he was the guy that voiced Batman in the cartoon series.
Okay.
Yes.
It works.
But he's a skinny guy, though. He's not really.
I don't know, man. I don't know what their mental quality is.
He got beaten so bad he was like using robotics.
Well, even if the Batman is skinnier, the audience can then assume that he is out of shape. He's older. There is something that happened traumatic to him. I mean, you could assume the worst if you see a character that doesn't fit what
Batman's you're used to be.
Yeah, exactly. What you're used
it's
to.
It's a weird one, man. Like, I don't know what's going on with DC executives as far as, and not necessarily that their TV and movie portions are all. I think they're all done by the same people, right?
Yeah, and they're all going to be fired soon the way they're going.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I don't get their whole reasoning. I get the fact that they're trying to do things to get a certain type of crowd, and I know that they're cowtailing to a certain clientele, but they're not doing what mainstream comic bookers want, where there's a solid story, a solid character, and they just stick with one storyline. They just keep on going and going and going and going and going, and there's the circle of DC life.
That's a very good point, because comic books don't really have much of a complex plot line.
They don't.
Okay, it's good versus evil. It's pretty step by step. A child can follow a comic book along.
Not unless if you do 20 different versions of the same comic. Because I've seen that happen a lot.
In that case, that does happen.
Yes.
But in the case of a simple script with the writers in a room, if they can't follow the play-by-play on that, on the idea to follow along with a very simple version of a comic book, or at least explain to the audience which character, or have the audience know which comic book that they're going at.
And don't jump the comic book lines either. I've seen that happen a few times. They go
from they do, man. It's crazy.
To the other, and
they go from 1 to 70, where Superman's a bald guy with a black suit on, and he's like,
let's end this conversation on this. If they had to jump to a specific Batman character, and they were going to bring somebody up to the big screen, who would you pick from the Batman storyline that you would love a story on?
From the Batman storyline?
Yes.
Go ahead, Spark. You had your hand up first there, sir.
I would do the story of Batman Beyond with Terry becoming Batman, and where Bruce Wayne is already in the 70s. And
dude, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I think that's a great idea.
There was that old meme where you had Michael Keaton play old Batman.
Yes.
In that Batman Forever version, yeah.
There's a YouTube video, if you guys happen to check it out, of Michael Keaton actually doing something for I guess it's Beyond Batman, but check it out on YouTube.
I would personally like you and I were both big fans of Law and Order SVU, right?
Sure.
So kind of more like the Gotham series, only less of the Batman and more of the police perspective of knowing that vigilantism is against the law, but having to work around it.
Working around it.
Yeah, where they try to pinpoint not just where the villains are going, but they're trying to pinpoint where Batman is too, so that way they can arrest them all.
Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of characters, man. There's a ton of characters from the Batman line, man, that they could use. Probably 30 to 40 characters that they've never used before. They've never used, and they could bring them right up to the big screen. You know, take for instance Clayface, Man-Bat, Batmite, Mr. Mesoplex. You know, I mean, there's a literal ton.
Mesoplex is more or less of the Justice League, though.
Well, I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying in general.
A Christopher O'Donnell to play Nightwing, though. Christopher O'Donnell to play Nightwing.
There's Nightwing. There's Red Hood. There's four different versions of Robin, right?
Correct. Yeah.
There was Dick Grayson. There was Tim. There was Jason. He was the one that
what's Ra's al Ghul's son?
By the Joker. Jason Todd. That was Jason Todd.
Okay.
The other one's Bruce Wayne's son. I can't think of his name
now. And the girl now.
Crazy. Yeah, it's just crazy curious that 3 out of 4 of those Robins, Bruce Wayne's like, sorry about your dead parents.
You're an orphan? Perfect. Really You're expendable.
It really makes Bruce Wayne's character look like he is killing their parents just to adopt them.
Yeah.
Gung Kong.
Gotham SVU.
I'm ready for Ice-T to be like, maybe he likes to have sex with these boys. I'm ready for Ice-T to say something like that, Sorry, I just got about 2 episodes.
Hey, we're gonna cut into something else, real quick before we pop into Idaho, man. But just to give a quick rundown, Netflix movies this coming week. They got a bunch of stuff coming out. Space Force is actually coming out this Friday with Steve Carell. Space Force. That shit looks funny. It's brought to you from the guys that made The Office. So you know it's going to be some quality material. You got Umbrella Academy coming out July 31st.